Hey, good morning. How are you? This is Kathryn Perry, the Big Vision Coach, and we are on day 4 of our week of love in the daily commands. And I'm just would love to hear how these talks, how exploring love, how holding a space for love, to meet it, to experience it, to express it. What have you noticed in your week? Has it been easier or have challenges come up when maybe there's an ordinary situation that maybe before you would get upset and you would be, today you feel calm? Or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe it's an ordinary thing and your irritation is up. I'm going to just assure you that everything that you're experiencing is exactly what you should be experiencing, because what's happening is you are loosening these bonds and illusions and emotions and perception of uh, what love is supposed to be, all the things you ought to be doing from love, and moving into the space of being love. And sometimes that's uncomfortable. Okay. So today is a key piece in all of this love talk. Now, tomorrow is Commanding Cashathon Day, which is everybody's favorite. And we are going to be talking about creating and commanding for cash from this state of being of love. Now, the reason that that matters, the reason that we're doing this is very often we have this idea that when I do, then I can have, then I can be, right? When I do, then I can have, then I can be. And this is how the world is set up. And we get that message really early. And then we think, well, there's all this stuff I'm supposed to do. Even when we're in our spiritual journey, even when we're in our healing, we get up and we're thinking about, I got to do this stuff so that I can have this experience that validates that what I want is possible, right? And then I can be what it is I truly need to be so I can feel, right? And we get that jumbled up and we get all caught up um, on this journey of healing and awareness, and we treat it as a job instead of something that we're allowing and accepting into our life. And that's where we are going with this. This is a personal philosophy. This is what I have found to be true over and over again, even when my ego wants to rise up and serve me and set boundaries. And I get into my family dynamic of being offended, which is a really powerful weapon in my personal family. Here's how silly it is. Here's how prevalent it is. One time I was visiting my wonderful Uncle Bill, who I loved with all my heart. Everybody loved Uncle Bill, but Uncle Bill was not easy. Nobody in our family is an easy person. And I was commenting, I said, I am so impressed by your relationship with your son. I didn't say your son because we know, but with Ken, who is his son. I'm so impressed with your relationship with Ken. And he said, why? And I said, well, do you know how many men I have come in my practice whose dads don't talk to them? They don't have conversations with their dad about deep things like you do with Ken. And I was like, just felt like I was really acknowledging something, because I was seeing the men in pain. I was seeing the men who didn't get that from their dad, and they weren't able to give something that they didn't have to their sons. And Uncle Bill was like, well, did you think I'm not smart enough or intelligent enough to have a conversation with my own son? I said, and I almost kind of backed up a little bit. It's like, whoa, Uncle Bill, hang on there. But the truth was, I touched on something in him. This was really like, I didn't realize I had touched a vulnerable spot. And I said, you know what I'm saying. It takes a special kind of intelligence to have honest conversations with your adult child about your life, about your feelings, about things you're thinking about. And my Uncle Bill had a, tumultuous life almost to the end of his life. But he had this incredible capacity to communicate his thoughts and feelings from a really honest place. But his first natural defense was always to be offended. Okay. And so when that would show up, what I learned after my journey, because initially as a kid, and a lot of kids would get this idea, the parent's upset, he's offended, that makes me feel uncomfortable, I shouldn't talk to him. But when I allowed myself to be present to his offense in this space of love, then more love arrived. And that was really a powerful lesson for me. I wasn't there to teach, I was having this experience. And then he started opening up about the level of conversation that he had with his son and the things that they talked about and how he dealt with some of Ken's judgments and disapproval and things like that. And my uncle really had this incredible capacity to meet whatever his choices were, whatever was in front of him, openly, honestly, and ready to do the work. And it didn't matter if it was yard work or emotional work. It did not matter. That was my Uncle Bill. And that's part of my wonderful legacy. Well, the reason I tell you that is because when we're first going through our healing, these uncomfortable feelings come up. And at first we might go, oh, that's bad. We'll judge it as something bad. But then, as like a kid, we'll go, this feels bad. I must be bad. And that stays linked in. And it takes a while to go, well, I wasn't bad. Of course I acted out. Or no, I wasn't bad at all. It was that other person, right? And then our mind kind of goes there, right? We can kind of continue this argument. But we're not really doing this one thing, and that's staying present to get the rest of the story. Okay, and to continue the conversation and to be present to ourselves through a lens of love and acceptance. Okay, so that's why today we are talking about self-love. Now, at the start of this week, this has been the lens that we are working with, this statement. And if you're just joining or you haven't had a chance to watch the others, here's where we're starting from. The consciousness in you and the consciousness in me, apparently two, really one, seek unity, and that's love. And just sit with that for a minute. And we started this out as this idea that was greater. And even when you hear me say the master in me greets the master in you, in this space, let there only be love between us, I'm connecting us to this higher self and realize that there's no separateness between us. And what unifies us is love. And when we're talking about self-love, we're talking about loving our inner child. Now, I chose this image because, one, is that beautiful? Look at the power. And this animal could do anything to her, but obviously this lioness has been raised in love. She has plenty. She's in a wonderful environment, and she has this relationship with this small child. And the child watches after the lion, and the lion watches after her. And in tarot, there is the strength card that looks very much like this. And I don't have an image of it, but if you're into tarot, you know exactly which card it is. It's the one where the woman is holding the mouth of the lion closed. And there is a lot of power, but it is, and where she's taming her natural forces, right? But she's doing it from a spiritual place. She's doing it with her emotions. And the lion is safe with her. and she is safe with the lion. So within you, you have this powerful force that left unchecked and left wild can be a destructive force. But you also have within you this beautiful, what we call or is known as the magical child or the sacred child within you that has the true power, and it has a message. She, he, it, they, them have a very powerful message, and it is they are the, they help you remember what your mission and your purpose is. But what happens is we get wounded as children. We get trained by the world, and we talk about a lot of this in the Commanding Wealth program. And I do a lot of this in my one-on-one coaching. And we're going to have a moment where I want to demonstrate with you how I talk to my inner child. But this is the quote that's our guiding principle today. If you don't love yourself, nobody will. Not only that, you won't be good at loving anyone else. And loving starts with the self. Wayne Dyer. Of course, the amazing Wayne Dyer and all the diamonds and jewels of wisdom that just dripped from his lips all the time. And but this is the journey that every one of us have to go on. Good morning, David. There, every one of us have to come to that moment that we meet that. And it's so sneaky because a lot of times we don't realize that we have a block around loving ourselves. Okay. And we don't quite know how to get to that or how we're holding it energetically. Okay. So I want to share with you a statement, and I have it in the description. Oop, where did it go? It's right here. I bet I didn't save it. I wanted to see it, but I'll just say it to you. And just tune in as I say it, and then I'm going to say it again, and I want you to say it with me. Okay. I am loving. I am lovable. I am loved. Just sit with it, take a breath, and now say it out loud. I am loving. I am lovable. And I am loved. When you said that, did that feel true? Or did you get a little clip? Did you feel a little energy kind of click in? Did you have a thought like, yeah, that would have been nice? No one told me that. Was there a reaction at any one of those? I am loving. A lot of us can see ourselves as loving people. I am lovable. I mean, there's an old blues song like, to know me is to love me. Do you feel that? That if people really had a chance to know you, they would love you? Or do you feel like better if they really knew how I was, if they knew the way I thought and my bad habits, and that I was messy, and that sometimes I just don't want to be bothered with people. If they knew that about me, they wouldn't think I was very lovable. I am loved. And did your mind immediately go to the times that you weren't loved, or did it go to, gosh, there's nobody here loving me right now. I'm single, I'm alone. Or the people that are in my life, that my family who are supposed to love me, are supposed to be doing the job of loving me. I'm not loved. I'm not listened to. I'm not heard. And we could go through all the love languages, right? Of all the ways that you know that you're loved and the way that you express love. And very often we're looking for evidence outside of ourselves rather than meeting that truth, aligning to it, and living from it. Just take a breath, and we're just going to sit with that for a minute. There could be some sadness around that, but I tell you, we touched on this earlier, I think maybe last week, That a lot of times that feeling isn't sadness or anger, but there's shame attached to it, that there's something wrong with you, that you aren't loving. There's something wrong with you, that you aren't lovable. There's something wrong with you, that you aren't loved. There must be in something inherently wrong, and so we have shame, and that's disdain turned inward. If you lived from this place of absolutely knowing that you were loving, that you were lovable, that you were loved, if there were no question in your mind, and you thought back on your experience and you held in your body this truth, how would you know? How would you know that was the truth of you? Maybe you'd know because you gave attention to yourself. Maybe you would know because you took care of yourself. Maybe you would know is because you would set clear boundaries for your relationships. Maybe you would know because you have set a standard for your life and you adhere to it. And maybe it's not always going to be exactly that, but you know your standards. And that means, let's say whatever house you live in, you may be living in a little, shotgun shack somewhere, but the standard of living in that shotgun shack is going to be the exact same as being in a mansion. It won't matter where you are because you have standards. Does that make sense? Okay. I grew up with poor working class, with a lot of poor country people, and I in the little neighborhood, it was mostly the little 2-bedroom, 1-bath house, and maybe somebody added on a room in the back. And so these little teeny houses, and I don't see neighborhoods that look like ours. They were humble houses, but every yard was clean. There was no junk anywhere. It was tidy. You could walk into anybody's house at any time and you'd be a welcomed guest, and their house was spotless. That's how I grew up. And if somebody's house wasn't like that, we were like, those people might not be well. Those people don't have standards. It must be really terrible at their house. And usually that's where the alcoholics and violence and a lot of terrible things did happen. So that's where I'm coming from with that idea. So you would have standards that no matter what your situation is, there's a way that you're taking care of yourself. Let's say it again. I'm loving. I am lovable. And I am loved. How would you know if that was 100% true? And there might be an image, a thought, a feeling, a word that floats up. And right now, that could feel like an ought to. But when we do the 6 steps of the one command and we make that statement, I don't know how, we're going to connect into our higher thinking that pauses all of those memories and all of those emotions of not enoughness, not good enoughness, unloved, uncared for, unwanted, all of those beliefs that create emotions, and emotions is energy in motion, right? And this has set up our neurology, and this has become part of our feedback loop, and becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, no matter how we struggle. Unless we rise up and we connect to that greater part of ourselves, and going into the 6 steps, and we go in Theta. We're going to that higher level of consciousness, into the unified thought field, where there is only love. And so whatever that ought to or want, or how you would know, but it doesn't seem possible, we're just going to say, I don't know how. I absolutely know that I am loved, I am loving, and I am lovable. No, I am loving, I am lovable, I am loved. Pardon me. I absolutely know this to be true in my life now, and I am fulfilled. we're going to work with that statement today. But before we do, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to demonstrate with you a way to talk to your inner child. Okay? And here's what I do, and I'm just going to say it, and then this way you can kind of learn to model it. Okay? Right now, the master in me aligns and greets the master in you, and in this space, let there only be love between us. I also know that there's a part of you, and I see you, that's struggling. That when you hear those words, I am loving, I am lovable, I am loved, it hurts. And you probably feel like you're in trouble or that you've done something wrong. And I want you to know that that is absolutely not true. In fact, I see how hard you try every day to be good. I see how hard you work. I see all the things you're doing, even when it looks like it may be bad. Because little kids sometimes don't know what they're feeling, and so they act out, and then you get in trouble. And you're not in trouble. I just want you to know that I'm here for you, and I'm here to help you. And I also know that sometimes when grown-ups say that, sometimes it makes things worse. Sometimes it's almost like you get in more trouble, and or it makes trouble, and all you wanted was help. And that's absolutely not the case here. I just want you to know that you're welcome. And anything that you need, I'm here for you. And I just want you to know that you're welcome here. And if you need to talk, you want to show me anything, I want to see it. But if you just want to go play, you're free to go play too. Now just be present. As I was talking to that part of you, what did you notice? What came into your mind's eye when you think about being a kid and having someone talk to you just honestly and directly? A lot of my clients will say, wow, I felt calm, I felt safe. And then I made a space for whatever needed to be said, whatever needed to be shown, and that you're welcome, but you don't have to do anything to earn your place here. You don't have to do anything to show that you're worthy of me listening to you. In fact, I look forward to listening to you because you're wise. You have a message. You've been needing something, and me as the adult has the power to help you with that. And I treat you as I would a little kid I found in the street, or I treat you as I would my own kid or my grandbaby, who honestly, I wish I had treated my daughter as well as I treat my grandbabies. But I was a new mom. I was stressed out, right? But there's a part of you that knows exactly how to love and what to do from that space of love for others. But you haven't necessarily known how to allow that for yourself. And we're going to do a command around that. Is this helpful? Is this landing with you? I'd love to get your comments and feedback, even if you are watching by replay. All right, we're going to go through the 6 steps of the one command. Take a deep breath. Breathe in. And now we're just going to ground. Breathe in and just feel that connection to the earth. And now just feel that energy coming up into your body, bringing your attention to your heart as you're aligning with your purpose and you're aligning to what is best for that sacred self. As it aligns to you. Now, eyes closed. Roll your eyes up and picture, visualize, or imagine that you are traveling up a pole of light. The higher you go, the faster you go. Soon you find yourself surrounded by the beautiful, velvety black void in space. And break through the darkness into the light of pure, open potential. Eyes up. We're silently going to state the command. And if you want to do this one out loud, that's all right. But I don't know how. I came to know and understand on every level of my being, in every experience, that I am loved. I am lovable. And I am loving. I only know that I am loved. I am lovable. I am loving now, and I am fulfilled. And just let your eyes relax. Let that expand out to an idea even greater that serves more good in its fulfillment. And now just start to receive that love, that wisdom, that knowing, that experience, that remembrance, that truth of love, of loving yourself, of honoring yourself, of communicating to yourself that you are absolutely loved and I think you are lovable. And as that state of being and that knowledge, that awareness begins to arrive, just let those old feelings, those uncomfortable feelings, that neurology that has been set up from all these thoughts, all the ways that you've trained yourself to stay safe by separating yourself. We're just going to let all that go because it kept you separate from yourself. All that need to defend and protect, just know that you are safe and welcome, that you're wanted here. You're needed. You're valuable. You're valued. And now just allow these new ideas to begin to rewind and integrate, coming into alignment with this truth that you are absolutely a loving person. You are lovable. You are loved. And now just bring your attention to your heart for a moment and just check in with that little kid that we were talking to. Like, yeah, do you feel loved? Are you safe? What do you need? And just notice what comes up for you. This is definitely a writer downer. You definitely want to spend some time writing on this because that's, as we write, this is brain writing. We a lot of times will get insights that we weren't even aware of when we try to just think it out. But also this helps us remember some of our conclusions in that imagery. And then of course, inspired action. Be ready for that idea or that inspiration, that opportunity. And allow yourself to be in that awareness of your moment, of that moment where you go, wow, this is a time I would have felt afraid and shut down. I'm just going to love right now. And just be in this new awareness of you as someone who is loved. And of course, if there's anything I can do to be of help and support to you, I would love to have a discussion with you about how you can experience greater self love and create a life that's the expression of that love. And if there's anything I can do to be of support, please let me know. It starts with a powerful conversation. And so we'll book that call. And it's if you go to bit.ly/big vision coach, and that will take you right to my appointment calendar, and we'll have a free half-hour conversation. I just want you to know that I see you. I love you. I think you are completely lovable, and I delight in you. And so this is going to end it for today. Until next time, this is Kathryn Perry, the Big Vision Coach, and I witness your mastery. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.